Hi, third graders. Today's lesson is a lot like yesterday's. Yesterday, we rounded to the nearest 10. Today, the learning target is I can round to the nearest 100. We're going to use the same saying. 4 or less, let it rest. 5 or greater, see you later. So let's look at a number. We have the number 271. We're rounding to the hundreds. This is the hundreds place. Ones, tens, hundreds. This is either going to go to 200 or stay at 200. Sorry, that would be let it rest, or go to 300. So who do we look to? Remember, we always look next door. We don't care about this number over here. It's either going to stay at 200 or go to 300. And this number right here next door tells us, is this number 5 or greater? Yes. So we say, see you later, 2. We're going to a 3. Now, if this number was 211, we would say, oh, this is 4 or less. Let it rest. We're going to stay at 200. Let that 2 rest. So notice it's this one either staying the same or getting bigger. It never goes down. It either stays the same or goes up. Let's try the next one. We're rounding to the nearest 100, and we have the number 241. All right, it's either going to stay at 200, let it rest, or go to a 300. So remember, we look next door. This number is a 4. 4 or less. Let it rest. The 2 will rest and we'll go to 200. All right, let's do one more. The number is 263. Are we going to go to 200s, let it rest, or are we going to say see you later and go up to 300? Remember, we find the hundreds place right here. We look next door. This number tells us, is this 5 or greater? Yes. See you later, 2. We're going up to a 3. Notice that this number over here does not matter. When we're looking at numbers, we're only looking there. Now let's say we had a number in the thousands. Let's say we had 1,349. All right. And we still need to round to the nearest 100. All right, well, that means that this number is not going to be affected unless this is a 9. Then this could be affected. But since it's a 3, it's either going to stay 3 or go up to 400. The 1 is going to remain the same. So we look next door. Look at this. This one is 4 or less. So this number rounded to the nearest 100 is 1,300. Notice everything behind it changes to zeros, and this number we let it rest because 4 or less, let it rest. We always look behind the number we're rounding. Okay, so let's just do this activity. 345. We're going to round that number to the nearest 100. Is it going to stay 300 or go to 400? You're right. This number, rounded, is going to stay at 300. The magnifying glass isn't showing up for me. 479. 5 or greater. See you later. It's going to go to 500. Here's the 6. Look next door. This one is a 2. 4 or less. Let it rest. Stay at 600. 821, the hundreds place. Right here, this is 4 or less. Let it rest. All right, let's look at the worksheets we're going to be doing today. The first one I would like you to do is, let's start actually with this one. You're going to round to the nearest 100. So remember, we'll do this first one together. We're rounding, it's either going to stay at 200 or go to 300. You look right next door. This number is 5 or greater. See you later. We're going to 300. Okay, so you're going to do the rest. Now I noticed here, what's in the hundreds place? this is actually a 0, right? There's nothing in the hundreds place, so 0 is nothing. So we look next door. This number is 5 or greater. So we say goodbye to the 0, and this number, rounded to the nearest hundred, is 100. Now, if this was not, we would have to round to 0. If this was 45, we would go all the way down to 0. All right. Which two bubbles round to 700? Well, look here. This one would never go to 700 because it's only 500. It would either stay at a 5 or go to a 6. Let's look at this one. 748. Look next door. This number is 4 or less. Let it rest. So there's one number that would round to 700. Oh, I made the mistake of writing 700. I want to write 748 here. You are going to find the other number that would round to 700. Here, you're rounding to 600. What two bubbles would round to 600? I automatically know it's not 800 because if we are rounding to 6, it would never go up that far. Right, true or false? Up here, write 4 numbers that round to 400. Well, if I'm going to round this one to 400, I know anything I write here has to be a 5, a 6, a 7, an 8, or a 9. And after this number doesn't matter. If I'm doing this one, and it's already a 400, I know that whatever number I have to put here has to be, you're right, 4 or less to let it rest. All right, so be smart about these. 765 rounds to 700. Let's see if that's true, correct, or false round. The 7 looks next door to it. Ooh, that number is 5 or greater. So I'm going to say, see you later, 7. I'm going to 800. So this answer is false. Then you're going to keep going here. All right, the second thing you're going to do to practice is another riddles page. So you are going to round again, this time to the nearest 100. So let's just do the first one together. It's either going to stay at 100 or go to 200. The 1, you look next door, it's a 0. That's 4 or less. Let it rest. This goes to 100. I'm going to find the 100 down here. Let's see, there it is. And I'm going to write the letter D here. Okay. Let's just try one here. This is in the thousands. We're still rounding to the nearest 100. Nothing's going to happen to this 9. So is it either going to stay at 100 or go to 200? We look next door, and this is a 1. That's 4 or less. Let it rest. So this one rounded ends up being 9,100. I go down here and find 9,100 right here, and I'm going to put the letter A. Don't be tricked when you see those numbers. Okay? Don't be tricked when you see the numbers to the thousands. You're still rounding to the nearest 100. It's like you can almost just put the 2 here. Unless, of course, you get to a number like this. This one has a 9, and you look next door, it's either going to stay at 900 or go up. Well, if it goes up, yep, that's 5 or greater. This number, rounded, is going to go to, yes, you're right, 2,000. Okay, 2,000. Over here, look at this 2 is not even affected because this is a 3. It's either going to stay at 3 or go up to a 4. I look next door, it's a 0. 4 or less next door, let it rest. So this is going to stay a 300, 2,300 or 2,300. You're going to finish the cookies in the bed. Why did the Girl Scout put cookies under her pillow? This sentence will make sense once you finish this. All right, remember, I can round to the nearest 100.